would it feel for you if you're with your therapist or your coach and you reveal to them something that's really dark, something that is a secret that you've kept inside of you, something that you feel afraid to share, something that feels like you've been holding? And when you do, that person isn't able to hold it. You feel their judgment or perhaps rejection. Maybe there's a way that you feel like they're trying to get you to change, to see a better way. They tell you, oh, that's you in the past, you can do better. Well, it's happened to me before, and I can tell you that it is more hurtful than it is healing, because what's healing is when we come to accept the parts of ourselves that we fear are most unlovable. When we come to accept the parts of ourselves that we thought we had to cut off from so that we could be acceptable to other people. The healing comes when we reclaim the parts of ourselves that we had to reject in order to survive as a child. So when we meet a therapist who cannot be there to accept us in that way, it is more damaging. It reinforces the rejection that we experienced. And it reinforces shame. The shame that we may have felt when we revealed that part when we were little, and perhaps a parent or a caregiver rejected us, told us to stop being that way, made it feel like it was bad to be that way. Now, one thing that's really important to know about shadows is that they're not all bad things. Shadows can be positive characteristics too, but for some reason our parents didn't like them. Maybe we were just too silly or playful, or maybe we were really, really smart and it intimidated somebody. Those are called golden shadows. Now, what's really important is that when you find a therapist or a coach, that you make sure that they are doing this work, that they are doing their shadow work, that they are doing their own radical acceptance work, that they are going in and finding the parts of themselves that they rejected, so that when they're with you, they are not being triggered by you, that instead they are able to hold you with the acceptance that you need. Because here's what happens is that oftentimes on the path to accept ourselves, we have to feel brave enough to take the risk to reveal those parts and then be met by somebody who can actually hold space for it, who can actually show us that it's okay, that that's just part of being a human being, and that everybody has these impulses. Every person in the entire universe has thoughts, impulses, actions that are not always pure. They're not always noble. That's part of being a human. What's healing is when we start to show up in the world and recognize that all of us have darkness and light. And instead of forcing everyone in the world to suppress anything that is negative or anything that is mean, because we think that the world should be all airy-fairy, happy, kind, and everyone should be nice to each other and we should have peace. We don't get peace until we get peace inside of us. We're not going to get peace in the world until we feel peace in here. You want to know when you feel peace in here? You feel peace in here when you're no longer rejecting yourself, when you've gotten honest with yourself. And here's the real interesting thing about this. People are afraid to go into their shadow because they're afraid of what they're going to find. It is not when you go into the shadow and you find these dark things and these impulses and the possibility that you could cause harm. It's not when you find it that is the problem. You don't become it. You actually shine a light on it, and then you become aware of it, and you have way more capacity to resist doing things that would be unkind and hurtful to other people. It's when it's lurking in the darkness that it seeps out in our life and sabotages us and causes us to act in ways that feel out of character with ourselves. The shadow is a truly magical place to go look to find wholeness. So if you're looking to feel more alive and more whole, please consider doing shadow integration work, and also make sure when you find a therapist or a coach that you work with someone who is doing their shadow integration work. If you want to learn more about this, I have a free toolkit. It is the Out of the Shadows Shadow Work Starter Kit. You might just find that it's a great place for you to go to find more of yourself.